Decades ago, a landmark Supreme Court decision was decided based on the right to privacy and women seeking safe abortions due to educated lawyers with money who stuck their necks out. Roe v. Wade did not happen because of men, but because of the power and tenacity of women who dared to take risks for our lives that are still being challenged today. We must rise to the women who made Roe v. Wade a reality and take action in a proactive mode to fight against evident struggles and restrictions aimed at this human right.
That you're providing service for is such that you know at the end of the day that you've made a real difference in people's lives. Oftentimes I would see someone years later who would say things to me about, I would never know the difference that we had made in their life, but we had.
It was a life-changing decision for me. Helped me to stand up for myself and know that I could take care of myself and be strong.
My final decision was I didn't want to have a baby and still be stuck with the same guy. That was so horrible.
Bovard's hard work and dedication impacted the community long before she focused on opening Fargo's first abortion clinic.
Maybe it was 73 or 74, a phone service that was called the Abortion Referral Service of North Dakota. And it was listed in the phone book that way, and I took phone calls from people who were looking for a place to go. And most of the time I referred them to Minneapolis because there needed to be a component of counseling and information involved, and I knew the two doctors were not doing that. I started with Lucy Colludi, the first abortion rights organization after Roe v. Wade, called the North Dakota Council for Legal Safe Abortion, and it was a NARAL affiliate. And that existed up through the time that Fargo Women's Health opened in 1981. But once I became involved in opening the clinic, I stopped doing the political work, but I did political organizing in the state from 75 to 81. There were laws that regulated abortion in terms of the fact that only a physician could perform an abortion, and that abortions could only be done up to 12 weeks in an outpatient facility, that beyond 12 weeks they had to be done in a hospital. Other states that had challenged the laws, and the Supreme Court had in fact ruled that there was no medical reason that abortions could not be performed beyond 12 weeks in an outpatient facility. People opposed to abortion in North Dakota challenged us because we had done an abortion beyond 12 weeks that said a woman had to have her husband's consent to have an abortion, and that was struck down.
It didn't really matter one way or another which decision I made because my partner wasn't going to be there for either one of them. That's just kind of how he was.
I was involved with the ACLU in challenging some of the legislation in North Dakota that had already been declared unconstitutional.
A building was purchased in 1981 to be remodeled into an abortion clinic. Word spread about the nature of the clinic due to how water was set up by part of the reconstruction crew.
One of the people who came for an interview was a spy who then went to the media and said that the clinic was, an abortion clinic was going to open in Fargo. And so then, it was a big to-do in the paper then. There was just a lot of back and forth. A local group formed when the clinic opened. They collected signatures around town, and they supported the right of a woman to choose or not to choose a legal abortion. Along with that, Alice Olson, who was an attorney, had invited Gloria Steinem to come and speak, and a group had her come speak at NDSU. Some of the people who were opposed to the clinic had put ads in the Midweek Eagle, and they had also sent letters out to businesses that said that if they didn't come out against the clinic, their name would be published as being supportive of the clinic. When we started out fairly slow the first week or two, but because of the publicity, There's no way that we could have ever paid for the kind of publicity that the antis gave us by their picketing, by their constant media attention, and so it very fast became known that we were available in Fargo. We became, for one thing, a story that the national media liked because we were the only clinic in North Dakota. We had picketing. We'd had picketing at my house continually. We'd had, that started like in '84. Initially, we got no help from the police department at all. Protesters would pound on patients' car windows. They would slowly creep across the front of the driveway so that the patient's car had to stop for them, and then they would orchestrate it so someone else would go and pound on the windows and try to talk to the people in the cars. Patients were pretty nervous about being attacked in their cars, and the police would do nothing about it.
I had a regret at first because there's protesters outside telling me other things, and I got so angry I want to go up to them and say, you want, abortions to be taken away. What happened if your baby girl got raped? You would make her have that baby?
I have no regrets about my abortion, none at all. I am today where I am because I was willing to take and trust myself as a woman.
The law enforcement over the years slowly got better. But one of the primary issues was that the protesters would stand out in front of the clinic and yell at the top of their lungs. And it was a clapboard house, basically, that the clinic was in, and the sound penetrated so that even the doctor could hear the yelling inside the OR, which was disturbing, and we tried to do something about that, but were never successful.
One of the things that stands out for me and has forever is how kind and compassionate the staff were, which was really important to me. Jane Bovard actually held my hand in OR, so I think that's pretty cool.
These people came in with kryptonite bicycle locks, and they locked themselves together, like 3 people together with the locks looped through each other, and they sat down in the hallways, and they sat down in the surgical, we call them the ORs, the operating rooms, and we had to call the police to come in. They had to drill through the bicycle locks to get the people out, so it took them a good part of a morning. Everyone who wanted to be seen that day was seen, just took them a little longer time. They came in with big pipes that they had themselves linked together in. They had these big metal boxes that they had rigged so that they could put their hands and feet and lock themselves inside it. So it was like an octopus with this center box, and then people coming out, 8 people coming out from the box in different ways. One of the protesters, Tim Lindgren, was welded inside of a car that they took wheels off of that blocked the driveway in front of the clinic, and he had to be cut out and removed. He had on Depends, so that I guess he expected to be in there all day, and that went, by that time there had been, the federal law had been passed that was the FACE law, that was the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrance, and he was charged under that and found guilty and had to stay away from the front of that clinic.
Regardless of anti-choice actions to prevent patients from entering the clinic, women were always able to have their procedure the day of their appointment.
When somebody wanted an abortion, they really didn't care what they had to go through. They would go through the protesters, they would do whatever they had to do, and when there was an invasion, the question was always, will I still be seen? Can the doctor still do it today? That they just wanted to know that they could be taken care of despite whatever other crazy stuff was going on. We would just have to